host's haunting voices, terror weaves through the airwaves like a malevolent symphony. I am Benson, your spectral guide, leading you into the uncharted realms of the macabre. Brace yourself for a descent into a paranormal abyss with hosts Bobby Washington, Carolyn Grey, and Amy Tydeman. They traverse through tales that linger in the shadows, spectral apparitions, haunted domains, cryptids, and otherworldly encounters. Embrace the darkness, extinguish the lights, steel your nerves for a bone-chilling night into the heart of the unknown. It's time for Strange Darkness Radio.
I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Oh, and I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Oh, can you feel it coming in the air tonight? Oh. Well, hello, welcome everybody. Welcome back to Strange Darkness Radio. I'm one of your hosts, Amy Tydeman, and along with me are
Carolyn
first.
Grey. I always go second, so it's me.
Bobby and Bobby. Bobby Washington.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us. And thank you, Bobby, for letting me take the reins tonight. I am super excited to be here. How is everybody doing? Well, I know how Bobby's doing because he just went like on a personal rant before the show. But we don't have to get into that unless you want to. But how is everyone doing?
I am doing fantastic. Amy, thank you for asking. No, I'm doing great. No.
Better now?
Yeah, definitely.
You got it all out?
Yes. But I'm doing fantastic. How are you ladies tonight?
Doing pretty good. Pretty happy to see you guys again tonight. How are you doing, Carolyn?
I'm great, and I'm very excited to hear your story tonight, Amy. Like, I'm so interested in this story that we're about to get into. So,
yeah, me too. I have had this on my list for quite a while, so I'm super excited to have picked this as my episode to produce. So, hopefully the listeners enjoy the topic, and if you guys like this episode, make sure you chime in and let us know. If you have any suggestions for topics, we'd also love to hear those as well. And hopefully we could do another deep dive and do some more episodes to produce.
Nice.
Oh, thanks for joining us.
Yes, I'm definitely looking forward for you ladies producing more episodes. I do have one announcement I do want to make before we get started. I want to thank all of our YouTube subscribers and viewership. Yes, we are now over 1,000, only 1,000. Come on, people. We need your help out there. We need to get that up.
We're super excited about that. Yeah.
Pour some champagne.
oh yeah.
You know, definitely. And I want to thank you guys for subscribing to our YouTube channel and keep it going. Okay, back to
Yeah, thank you. Thanks to all our listeners.
Yeah.
We love you.
I know it's been a lot of fun to see all of the support coming in and the show growing. So it's been a lot of fun. So, okay.
And also, just real quick, Carolyn did say she would do a swimsuit YouTube live stream edition. So that's possible.
I would do it if we all did it, Bobby.
Yeah.
I don't recall that, but I don't know. I've seen Carolyn in a bikini. So she had a bikini picture. She looked pretty good, actually. So,
Awesome.
What are you talking about on my Facebook?
Yeah, I remember Bobby sent the team chat, and
she doesn't remember.
I don't even know if you saw the message or even looked at it, but it was a picture of you in a bikini, and we were laughing because I said Carolyn is not even gonna know that you sent a picture of her in a bikini.
Yes,
and
that was when I was trying to get.
Oh
yeah,
my
you know
God,
about
so
it.
She did not see the picture he sent of
Oh no, she did. She did.
Nope.
It was on your board.
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
No, it was to the guy who has the haunted house. I was baiting him to come on the show, and I said, "Hey, Carolyn, I'm going to bait him to come on the show." You're like, "Go for it," and it worked.
If it was for that reason, then I'm behind it. I fully support that.
It worked, but we don't know.
Come on, yeah.
We don't want to say. Carolyn. We don't want to say yet because he actually does want to come on, but we don't. We'll talk about it. We'll see. We'll see.
I was just about to say some stuff about that guy, and maybe I'll hold off.
Well, you can.
You're the one who wants to interview him.
He's no angel, so
he's not going to listen to this, right?
You're the one who wants to interview him.
No, I do want to interview him, but I was going to say
his name.
There's a new Netflix. I can't remember his name. Something weird. It's got a K in it.
Carney.
McCormy.
Yeah, Russell McCormy?
Yeah.
Russell something.
Yeah, someone look it up real quick.
McCarney?
It's something like that. But there's a new documentary on Netflix about it, about his haunted house and about him. And I mean, I think we all kind of knew this already, but yeah, that guy's kind of weird.
Just a little bit. Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah, but
more than a little bit.
That would make,
a little bit.
That would make for
McCamey.
Oh,
McCamey
yeah,
Mansion.
Yeah. McCamey Manor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we might have that guy on, you guys.
Okay.
We're not going to be nice to him either. I'm not going to be.
We're going to ask him the real questions. Unlike every other person who's interviewed him.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But all right, well, stay tuned for that, and we'll see what happens. We'll make sure you get Carolyn's bikini pic over to him.
Yes, definitely.
But okay. Well, so tonight we have a super creepy story. I first heard about this. There was an article that came out in 2018 in the New York Magazine, and it detailed this family's experiences with a stalker who would send very, very dark, ominous letters. So the content of these letters was something you would read about in a book. So it's pretty fascinating. The details in these letters show that someone was clearly watching this family very, very closely. So if you are interested in stalker stories like I am, this is a pretty good one. So let's
creepy.
have Benson take it away.
Welcome, listeners, to a chilling episode of Strange Darkness Radio. I'm your spectral guide, Benson. On tonight's episode, Amy Tydeman guides you on a journey alongside Bobby Washington and Carolyn Grey, where they dive into the unsettling true story of the Watcher. Imagine buying your dream home and quickly having it turn into a menacing nightmare. Listen as your hosts dive into one family's chilling experience where they receive letters from a malevolent observer whose identity and motives remain shrouded in darkness, hinting at a sinister presence lurking in the shadows, watching their every move. Listen to each chilling letter and join us as we ask, who is the Watcher?
All right. So, as Benson mentioned, what happened was in 2014, there was a young couple named Maria and Derek Broaddus. They bought this beautiful 6-bedroom home. The address, and you can look it up. It's 657 Boulevard, Westfield, New Jersey. They bought the house for $1.3 million. Very, very nice upscale neighborhood. The house was built in 1905, so they were. It was just a very nice area. So they were super excited to move there with their 3 young children. But before they moved into the house, they decided that they wanted to do some house renovations. So they would go over there, work on the house. And what happened was one day, Derek Broaddus was at the house and he was repainting some of the rooms. and he decided he was going to go and check the mail. And so he went out there, and what he found was a plain white envelope with no return address. So he opens the envelope and he finds this typed letter. So you are going to be hearing verbiage from a series of actual letters that somebody called the Watcher sent to the Broaddus family. So, Bobby, if you could play letter 1, please.
Dearest new neighbor at 657 Boulevard, allow me to welcome you to the neighborhood. Do you know what lies within the walls of 657 Boulevard? Why are you here? 657 Boulevard has been the subject of my family for decades now. And as it approaches its 110th birthday, I have been put in charge of watching and waiting for its second coming. My grandfather watched the house in the 1920s, and my father watched in the 1960s. It is now my time. Do you know the history of the house? Do you know what lies within the walls of 657 Boulevard? Why are you here? I will find out. Do you need to fill the house with the young blood I requested? Better for me. Was your old house too small for the growing family? Or was it greed to bring me your children? Once I know their names, I will call to them and draw them to me. Who am I? There are hundreds and hundreds of cars that drive by 657 Boulevard each day. Maybe I am in one. Look at all the windows you can see from 657 Boulevard. Maybe I am in one. Look out any of the many windows in 657 Boulevard at all the people who stroll by each day. Maybe I am one. Welcome, my friends. Welcome. Let the party begin. The Watcher.
That guy's voice is creepy.
Oh, good.
Stalker has a creepy voice.
Yeah, that's the point we're trying to get across. That was a super, super creepy letter. So I just want to know, what would you guys do if you received that kind of letter in the mail when you first moved into your beautiful new home? What would you do?
I would take it as a prank, just someone in the neighborhood poking fun and all that stuff. That's how I would take it.
Yeah. So you wouldn't immediately go to the police. You would, what would you throw the letter away? Would you save it?
No, I would save it. I would keep it and I would show my wife. I would be like, hey, check this letter out. This is crazy. Because even the way the letter is typed, it's like it's, and again, this is what is this, 2014? And it reads like it's something out of the early 1900s or 1800s, the way it's written. And so just from the verbiage, I would say, okay, one of the older people are playing a prank, in the neighborhood. Maybe this is like a little greeting on how they greet people, a little hazing. Yeah. Everybody, instead of coming over with the pies and the casseroles, they're like, this is, the one. This is a well-to-do area, a $1.3 million home. So it's,
Oh my God, it was $1.3 million.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, can you imagine you pay $1.3 million in a couple weeks or however long it was?
This is before they moved in.
Get this kind of letter.
They hadn't even moved in yet. Yeah.
Yeah, no, they have not moved in yet.
Knowing that the house was so expensive kind of makes me think of this case in a different way. And also, can you imagine? Like, this guy isn't necessarily stalking this family. It sounds like he's stalking the house itself. Like, what, does he just like sit there and just stare with binoculars at the house all day, every day of his life, just to make sure that the house is still there? Like,
that's what he makes it sound like. But you know what's creepy is he said, "Do you know what lies within the walls?"
Yes.
Like, that would make me want to tear the house apart and see what.
Oh yes, yes. There are stories and factual stories that a person actually lived in a home with a family. It was a a lady with her 2 daughters. I think she had 3 daughters, and he actually lived in the walls. Like he lived in a part of the upper attic area, but he was able to get in between the walls and stuff. And so he would watch them as they moved throughout the house. And this wasn't no elaborate, mansion or anything like that. So imagine this home as far as how big it is and the access that someone would potentially have for it. But I don't know if yet I wouldn't get there, let's wait for 2, as we go. But I would just get to where, okay, someone's playing a prank. That's what I would get off of the first letter.
Yeah, and I almost feel like going to the police would just kind of be egging it on. Like if you just ignore it and they keep sending letters and it's just letters, right?
No. I would be entertaining the police after a couple of letters, but let's not jump ahead because I would
not
definitely.
the first letter, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, so you both would not go to the police.
No,
after
not
the
in the
first
first
letter.
letter.
Okay, that's interesting. All right. Well, what happened? The real person, Derek, he ended up calling the police department, and they showed up and asked a bunch of questions. So after that, he actually ended up emailing the original house owners. Their names were John and Andrea Woods. They lived there for 23 years. So Andrea, the former homeowner, she said that they had never received anything until a few days before they transferred ownership to the Broaddus family.
Yeah.
So she actually said that they did receive a letter from someone, and they called themselves the Watcher, who again claimed to be one of a long line of people stalking the house's residents. So she actually thought it was a prank, or so she said, and she threw the letter away. And then when questioned,
I'm so sorry, but do we know what that letter said? I know she threw it away, but did she ever say?
I think it was pretty much we don't have the actual letter. Because she did throw it away, but it was pretty much sounds like it was along the same lines of what they received. That I'm watching the house and blah 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 blah.
Did it mention that she was selling the house to them? Because if he was aware, whoever wrote this letter, if they were aware that she was selling the house, because it's kind of weird that she got this letter just right before moving.
Yeah, but she never said. Just to clarify, she actually never. Nothing that I can find. I don't know about Amy, but she never stated what was in the letter. She just threw it away without much concern. Is what her actual quote
I don't
was.
think. I don't. That part's not clear if it said anything about that. But yeah, it was pretty much like right before. But so she ended up saying that this had never happened before, because I think the Broaddus family was thinking, oh, this must have happened a bunch of times, and that's why they're selling the house, and they didn't disclose that to us. But she said, no, we're just selling the house because our kids are grown. We've outgrown it. So that was that for the time being. And then the police instructed the Broaddus family to keep the letter a secret. And especially they did not.
1 second. I don't want to punch holes in your dialogue. But actually, they didn't go to the police, I think, until after the third letter. After the second letter. They went to the police, only because it was the second letter that really disturbed them, because it just had way more actual details opposed to just something so random to where, I think just FYI.
Okay, my timeline could be off because there are so many different articles and so many different time points. It was hard. The one article I referenced mentioned they had their timeline could have been a little off as they were doing their narrative, but it sounded. So I don't know if it's the first letter, the second letter, but okay.
The second letter was highly more disturbing.
Yeah, we're gonna hear all the letters. Oh. So yes, okay, and then so they immediately became suspicious of their neighbors. There was a family called the Langfords. I think they lived like right next door to them, and they were suspicious about the son. He was an unemployed man in his 60s. He lived with his mother. That family had lived there since the 1960s. So I think the son was, we're kind of jumping ahead a little bit, but this guy was brought in for questioning. He denied involvement. And so they just kind of started becoming paranoid about everyone. And then I saw that at one point, and I don't know why, because I think it was after he received this first letter, a couple actually stopped by they were, I think they lived in the neighborhood. So a couple stopped at the house and met Derek, and he actually gave them a tour of the house for whatever reason. And he was actually shocked because the woman stated, "Oh, it would be nice to have young blood in the neighborhood." And so that leads into 2 weeks later when they get a second letter. So go ahead and play letter 2.
Welcome again to your new home at 657 Boulevard. The workers have been busy, and I have been watching you unload carfuls of your personal belongings. The dumpster is a nice touch. Have they found what is in the walls yet? In time, they will. I am pleased to know your names and the names now of the young blood you have brought me. You certainly say their names often. 657 Boulevard is anxious for you to move in. It has been years and years since the young blood ruled the hallways of the house. Have you found all of the secrets it holds yet? Will the young blood play in the basement? Or are they too afraid to go down there alone? I would be very afraid if I were them. It is far away from the rest of the house. If you were upstairs, you would never hear them scream. Will they sleep in the attic? Or will you all sleep on the second floor? Who has the bedrooms facing the street? I'll know as soon as you move in. It will help me to know who is in which bedroom. Then I can plan better. All of the windows and doors in 657 Boulevard allow me to watch you and track you as you move through the house. Who am I? I am the Watcher and have been in control of 657 Boulevard for the better part of 2 decades now. The Woods family turned it over to you. It was their time to move on and kindly sold it when I asked them to. I passed by many times a day. 657 Boulevard is my job, my life, my obsession. And now you are two Broaddus family. Welcome to the product of your greed. Greed is what brought the past 3 families to 657 Boulevard. And now it has brought you to me. Have a happy moving in day. You know I will be watching.
I have read these letters before because I've looked into this case before and I've read them, but it didn't have as much of an impact as actually hearing someone speak it, because this is creepy stuff that he's saying. When I read about this case originally, I was like, this is just a stupid prank, whatever. But, you know, the thing about what's in the walls and knowing the family's names and that he's watching them, like, it's so weird.
Yeah, what's crazy is, so obviously, you know, the letters online, they omit some of the details, like the children's names, but this second letter actually did have the children's names, and it also did mention the children's birth order and their nicknames. And the second letter is, I believe this is the one that they also said they had seen a child drawing on the enclosed porch.
Yeah, when he was renovating the home before they moved in, he brought one of the kids to the house and put her on the balcony, and she was painting. And so everything that this reason why this triggered everything for them, because knowing the names, you can probably find that, or you may hear about it, or if you even know where they came from, but knowing their nicknames, actually watching her and him knowing that he had his daughter there who was painting on the balcony, those are the things that were starting to really freak him and his wife out.
Yeah,
so see, the first letter wouldn't have gotten to me, but if I got that second letter where he's mentioning my kids' names, yeah, I probably would go to the police.
Yeah, I think after this letter is when they actually stopped bringing the children to the house. So, yeah, it's super creepy because he said that on the back enclosed porch, it's actually hidden from street view. So it sounds like the only people that would really be able to see it are just immediate neighbors in the vicinity. So you have to think, okay, it's probably either an existing neighbor right now that's spying on them, or well, yeah. I mean, how else could anyone have seen their child?
Unless someone was in their yard, prowling around in their backyard.
Yeah, but it sounds like, yeah, I don't know. But I would think they would have kept like a close eye on the children, especially after even the first letter, But I guess it's possible. Maybe, maybe they didn't take it as seriously, and yeah, who knows?
When you were researching for this, did you look at like the layout of the house? Like, do you know what it looks like?
No, I didn't see anything like that. I would, there's pictures, but I think it's like mainly of the front. It doesn't necessarily show like the back or the
whole backyard and
porch.
all that.
But yeah, I would love to like see like a virtual tour of that and see what the viewpoints were as far as the other neighbors. That I think would be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So okay. So after that, let's see. It was several weeks later. That's when the third letter arrives. So, Bobby, go ahead and play letter 3.
Where have you gone to? 657 Boulevard is missing you. 657 Boulevard is turning on me. It is coming after me. I don't understand why. What spell did you cast on it? It used to be my friend, and now it is my enemy. I'm in charge of 657 Boulevard. It is not in charge of me. I will fend off its bad things and wait for it to become good again. It will not punish me. I will rise again. I will be patient and wait for this to pass, and for you to bring the young blood back to me. 657 Boulevard needs young blood. It needs you. Come back. Let the young blood play again like I once did. Let the young blood sleep in 657 Boulevard. Stop changing it and let it alone.
Yeah, it almost kind of sounds like could be a disgruntled previous owner maybe, or a neighbor that they're upset that they're making renovations to the home.
It's interesting because it seems like every letter you get a little more information, and but it's also like every letter you think one thing and then you read the next letter and you think something totally else. Like,
well, at this point,
it just keeps getting weirder.
Now the cops are involved, and they're doing an exhaustive investigation on the whole situation, and they're interviewing the neighbors. They're looking at everybody, even the sellers and of the home, because this is still in process. This whole process of the sale and them moving in, everything is still ongoing. And
Mm-hmm.
And so is the person now shaken because they feel like they're losing grip on the situation, or not being able to do their research or study, or keep their eye on this home like the forefathers did, whether it was the grandfather and the dad or whomever or whatever is happening. But this person isn't able to keep watching the place the way they want to, is the way it sounds to me in the third letter.
Yeah. I think the family was thinking that it could possibly have been someone who was a competing, they put in a competing offer on the house, and that maybe they were holding a grudge because they're the ones that purchased it. Because I read that neighborhood is actually like the place to be in that area. So it's like highly competitive. So,
but then why would they send a letter to the previous owner, the seller?
Oh, yeah. That's true. That is true. Yeah, that does. Or maybe they had been doing that to get them out of the house.
Try to get them to move. Maybe.
And then they're thinking they're going to come in, but then this Broaddus family gets the offer. I mean, that's, it's a possibility, I guess.
Yeah.
But
the last letter does, I agree with Amy. It almost sounds like it's a previous resident of that house, because why would someone care about a house they never lived in that they have nothing to do with? Why would they care if it's being renovated or they're changing it
No, the Woods owned it for decades. So I don't think
the previous owners.
Yeah, the previous
like 2
Woods.
decades. So could it maybe, I don't know about whoever the people were before
then the letter
maybe it was like a family home.
Yeah,
on the last day. I don't know.
Yeah,
because it was built in 1905, right? Is that what you said?
I think like 1904. So yeah, I don't know how far back they went into previous owners. I don't recall hearing anything about that. I just know they looked into the one family before them, but I don't know if they went any further than that. So that could be a possibility, but regardless, they decided they're not going to move into the house right now. And what they did was they set up webcams all over the house. They got an alarm system. And then I think it was at that point that they hired private investigators.
Mm-hmm.
And so Michael Langford, the neighbor that was originally questioned as a suspect, he remained a suspect. So they questioned him for a second time. Of course, he denied any involvement. And then what happened was the Broaddus family, they ended up selling their current house, but they decided not to move into the home with everything that was going on, and they moved in with her mother. So it was at that point they actually decided they wanted to put the house up for sale. So it was like 6 months after the first letter came. They finally decided, okay, we've had enough of this. We're not going to move in here. And so the house was put up for sale, and they had no buyers, which is interesting. I don't know if like the rumors had started to get out about the house because, like I mentioned, this was like a highly coveted area.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting that there were no buyers. So then they decided they wanted to sell the house to developers, and they wanted to subdivide the property.
Oh, I bet that pissed the watcher off.
Yeah, I think they were denied that. Yeah, they weren't allowed to.
Yeah, they were denied because of the square footage on both houses were off just a little bit. And so they weren't allowed to make individual plots for each individual home. So they didn't allow them to sell it. And at some point they end up suing the Woods and taking them to court because they were saying they knew about these letters. They received these letters previously, and so that set all this into motion. And then so when they filed the court filings, they actually in some of the filings they submitted some of the letters, and then so a journalist got a hold of those letters, and so that's how all this came out and even blew it up, bigger.
And didn't the family kind of feel at one point like there was a conspiracy, like the whole town was against them? Because I remember something about when they did try to get permission to do the thing where they were going to split up the property, they were denied. But then something happened where it was like a couple months later or something, the city actually approved like a similar kind of a renovation request by someone else.
Yeah,
right?
That was years later after they took a serious loss on the home, but it was years later when that happened.
Oh, I thought it was closer. Oh.
Yeah. So, okay. So after all of that, they were, the suit was thrown out of court, so that didn't work out for them. So the next step was they decided to rent out the house, and that's when a fourth letter arrived. And the renter received it, and then they handed it over to the Broaddus family. So go ahead and play letter 4.
I want to make one caveat before we do that. This, it was in the rental agreement. The new renter said if we receive one letter, because it already was public, they said if they receive one letter, then they automatically are able to get out of, renting that property. And that's exactly what happened. When they received that letter, they said, I'm out. Deuces.
Oh, did they leave? Because
Yeah.
I wasn't clear if they actually left
Yeah,
right
they
away.
left. They left right when they got that letter. They handed it over. They got their stuff and they were out.
Oh, interesting. Very interesting.
All right, here we go.
To the vile and spiteful Derek and his wench of a wife, Maria. You wonder who the Watcher is? Turn around, idiots. Maybe you even spoke to me. One of the so-called neighbors who has no idea who the Watcher could be. Or maybe you do know and are too scared to tell anyone. Good move. I walked by the news trucks when they took over my neighborhood and mocked me. I watched as you watched from the dark house in an attempt to find me. Telescopes and binoculars are wonderful inventions. 657 Boulevard survived your attempted assault and stood strong with its army of supporters barricading its gates. My soldiers of the Boulevard followed my orders to a T. They carried out their mission and saved the soul of 657 Boulevard with my orders. All hail the Watcher. Maybe a car accident. Maybe a fire. Maybe something as simple as a mild illness that never seems to go away, but makes you feel sick day after day after day. Maybe the mysterious death of a pet. Loved ones suddenly die. Planes and cars and bicycles crash. Bones break. You are despised by the house and the Watcher. One.
It's getting more aggressive now.
Yeah. No, I would be super scared. Now you're threatening the family. You're
Yeah,
actually
sure.
Like he hates
threatening
them.
Yeah, you're actually threatening murder now. And it's kind of crazy that like they're kind of playing with them now, talking about oh no, actually that was the third letter. No, where they said, oh, it could be someone that you know. Never mind. It wasn't this letter. But yeah, I feel like each letter is just getting more and more aggressive and desperate.
Oh yeah, and through this whole process, these people are going through turmoil. The husband is just totally depressed. The mom is seeing a psychologist and our therapist, and they're just going through it. You know, the whole PTSD thing. They're totally paranoid of anybody or anything around them. So they're mentally actually just going through it.
Yeah. So
He did say he was a neighbor of theirs, though, in this letter. He kind of gave a clue.
He did like allude to it that, oh, maybe we've had conversations.
Right. And he said, I live in the neighborhood or something, and I'm watching you with binoculars. So that's weird.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he was playing with them because at this time the police are doing their investigation. They're not coming up with nothing, whether it's fingerprints, digital aspect of how it was sent, what was it typed, what was it typed on, just that whole thing that they do, and they're coming up with nothing. So this person is getting confident to where normally a person would stop because like, I'm going to get caught at some point, right? I'm going to stop. But no, this person kept going.
Yeah, I feel like the person that they originally thought was the one that sent the letter, the one that was questioned 2 times. I think he was cleared anyway, but I feel like after he was questioned the first time, he wouldn't have kept sending letters,
That's true.
So I feel like
a lot of people do think it was him, right?
They do, but would be pretty bold to be questioned by the police twice and then still continue to send letters.
Oh, for sure.
So it was obviously somebody that probably was not even a suspect. And, so to this day, they have never found the Watcher. The Broaddus family never moved into the home, which is so sad. You buy this beautiful home for $1.3 million and don't even live there a single day. Apparently there were no usable fingerprints. I think like they had the neighbors give DNA tests, but a lot of the neighbors were saying that they weren't home when the tests were given out. And then some people even declined to be tested.
Wow.
So I think that's...
Well, and what are you going to do? Even if it was a neighbor of theirs, like the police can't just go to every house in the neighborhood and demand people give over their fingerprints and do testing for something that could possibly just be a prank or have nothing to do with them, So it's like how it could have been one of the neighbors and they would never know and never find out.
Yeah, I don't even think that the police took the whole thing seriously until the case went viral and this article went out in the New York Magazine. And then they started getting media. People were like camped out in the front of their home. And then I think that's when the police became more serious about the whole issue. Huh. But I did hear that when they did do like more in-depth testing, one of the letters actually had female DNA on it.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I guess they ended up testing one of the daughters in that family, the next door neighbors, whose son was a suspect. They tested the women there. That came up negative. So that whole family was pretty much ruled out as suspects. But what's interesting is that the Broaddus family, they wanted to have that DNA uploaded to a genealogy database.
Oh, wow.
And the prosecutor's office, they actually refused their offer, which is interesting to me. I don't know why they refused it if they weren't the ones that were even going to pay for it,
I wonder if it's a legality thing.
Yeah, I would say so. This is not a murder. This is not.
I think that's what it was because it was just kind of like not a murder case. So
not serious enough.
Yeah, which is
it's creepy
sad,
as hell.
I know. Yeah. But so pretty much what happened was they finally sold the house in 2019 and it was for $959,000. So they took a significant loss.
My figures are totally different. It says they sold the house for $400,000 is what I have.
Oh my God.
No. 400. No, it was 400,000 less than what they purchased.
Is that what it was?
Yeah. No, 400,000. I'm going to go buy that house. Yeah, I'm going to go buy that house.
But here's the thing. Would you buy that house? That's the question. Even if it was $500,000, 500,000, would you buy it?
Yeah, I probably would because it just sounds like so yeah, let's move into talking about our theories. I think just hearing it was a female's DNA, I think it was just some old Karen.
Typical Karen.
You mean the first Karen? It's probably the first Karen. This is 2014.
The original.
I mean, to me, it just sounds like a woman that, I don't know, she was obviously you're not mentally there if you're going to be sending letters like that to people. But I don't know, for whatever reason, she just did not want people living in that home. I don't think this was actually someone who was capable of, I don't know, but I don't think anyone would have been murdered. I think they were just having fun taunting this family. Yeah, so I don't know if I would move there. I mean, for a $1.3 million home and you get it for $400,000.
No,
and
500.
Nobody's
Let's say
ever
500.
Huh?
Let's say another 100,000 on it.
What's
500,
that?
500,000. If you would you do it for 500,000?
Yeah.
Would.
Yeah, maybe. First I got to go look at the house, but
meaning you couldn't flip it to where you can rent it out, you can do whatever, but you just couldn't. You're not going to make because obviously in that area you're going to say, oh, developer, you're going to buy it and then make more money off of it eventually at some point. Which again, in the future, yeah, for sure, right? But if you're taking a loss and you're just a family needing to pay the mortgage. A year later, you want to try to sell it and get out of it, but you would either, make what you got or take a loss or possibly lose a loved one based upon some psycho that actually goes ahead and acts out whatever's in the letters, be it somebody who's just reading the letters or be it the actual person. Because once stuff becomes public, doesn't mean it was the person who actually started it that actually commits the inevitable crime. That's where the whole copycat situation could actually come into play.
So
That's
you
true.
would not move into that home then?
There's too many problems. No.
You know what I would do? I would move into that house, and then every time I got a watcher letter, I would literally just take a lighter and light it on fire right in front of my mailbox.
I would
So you're going to
believe-
get rid of the evidence?
I believe she would do that only because she's moved in the last 6 months like 5 times. So
I'm desperate.
I would believe.
No, but because if you don't, I feel like if they didn't feed into it, if you just ignore the letters, what is really going to happen at the end of the day?
But that's the thing you don't know. It's always the, the possibility of you coming home late one night. And
yeah,
then
but you
hear
could
an
walk
eerie
out
sound.
in the street and get hit by a car, You could say that about anything.
Well, if someone's threatening to run you over every day, yeah, that's a whole nother story, right? But if someone's actually threatening
I would write the watcher a letter back and leave it in my mailbox so that the next time they come to drop off my letter, they can take the letter I wrote for them.
No,
but
it
they
had
didn't
posted.
And I would stalk them back.
No, they didn't. It didn't go like that. They actually sent it out. It didn't have a return address, so it was sent.
So they mailed it. They weren't just sticking it in the mailbox.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Or maybe nowadays you could just get on your social. Back then, nowadays just get on your social media
or whatever.
Yeah, just go on your social media and you could tell them what you would want to say to them.
Goddamn Karen,
So do you guys
sending
know?
letters.
You guys want to know what I think is one of my theories is that it was actually the husband because
Really?
Derek Broaddus?
yes,
You think
because
so?
it was the wife's town that she wanted to move back in. He's actually, I don't know of too many people who buy a $1.3 million mini mansion or whatever it was, and then they do their own renovations. Usually, someone has enough money if you're spending that kind of money to, at least have people do certain things, right?
Yeah, but he might have enjoyed doing that. Like a lot of people just like doing that as a hobby. So maybe it was like a sense of like gratification for him to be able to work on his own house. Just because you have money doesn't mean you don't want to work on your own house.
Yeah, but doing to where you
Make it
never
how you want it.
even move into that from that point, there's have to have been a lot that was going on before the that first letter came in. Because if a first letter comes in, I'm going to be living in that home within the first week. Then the second letter comes in, I'll be like, okay, what's happening? But I'm not going to be paying on, a couple of mortgages. And they wanted to get out of the deal. So, and then again, that's why they sued them. They actually asked for, to try to like, hey, we don't want to buy this. Before the lawsuits happened, they were trying to get the money back from the Woods or get them to take the property back. And they wouldn't. And so that's why the lawsuit came into play. It just seems to me he didn't want to be there.
That's a theory, right? One of the theories is that either one of the couple or both of them were in on it together and they were just writing the letters to themselves.
They were probably beyond their means. They were probably doing something beyond their means.
The fact that they're doing all these renovations and the fact that they wound up having to sell the house at a loss and they didn't get anything out of the whole thing. It's like, why would they buy the house in the first place if they couldn't afford it?
Well, because she wanted to move back. She wanted to live there. She wanted to move back.
Yeah, but
she
they could have bought a cheaper house.
So
she wanted to live in that area.
So you think he did this behind her back, like without her knowing? Like he was kind of spiteful at the fact that he did this, and he didn't want to. He did it for her. So you think he was just? But you think he would terrify his own family?
Talk about murdering his kids.
Yes.
Yeah, come on.
People have done worse. For one.
Bobby said yeah.
And two, she's the one seeing the therapist. What if he was trying to drive her crazy?
Maybe he had split personality and he was writing the letters to himself, but he didn't even know it.
Yeah. I know people are saying, well, no, it was a female's spit or saliva that was tested.
The DNA.
But we don't know that 100%. I don't think that was like 100% confirmed that it
could have been like a postal worker that touched the letter or something, right?
Yeah,
like they don't know for a fact that it was from.
Well, but the spit on and maybe they didn't have spit on there. They probably didn't lick the envelope.
Yeah,
maybe it was just
Theoretically, you would just
you're right.
Take, sponge.
Yeah.
Maybe the husband was having an affair and the lady he was having an affair with was mad.
Dang. In 2014, yeah.
But why would she want them to move out of the house? If anything, I would want the wife to leave, and then I move into the 1.3 million.
True.
But
yeah, you're right. That doesn't make sense.
Don't forget, they're moving to a town from another town. So, maybe she
so
was,
it had to be someone in the area?
No. I'm just saying she could be at their whatever they're moving from to where she wanted him to stay, opposed to the wife
and want them to move
moving
back.
them
That's
to this
true.
location. But I don't know. That's just my.
And someone he was
theory.
having an affair with would know the kids' names and might know
Especially
the
their
nicknames
nickname.
and might
they
know.
knew the pet name and everything.
Yeah.
But what are your theories?
But
What's your theory,
wouldn't they
Amy?
have mentioned it in the first letter though? They waited like at least till the second letter.
No, you ramp
That's
up.
true.
You're not going to throw all your eggs in one basket initially. You're going to try to creep them out.
Yeah.
And
So you the long game.
But you really think that it was the husband though?
No. That's just a wild theory. I really think I really think it was one of the people that wanted to buy the home that was local. And they did not, for whatever reason, the Woods didn't sell it to them, or they didn't get the bid they wanted, or however that happened. And then because the letter comes once the sale is in process or made, once the Woods are leaving, and then they get that first letter. And again, who knows what the letter said? The letter could have said, "Don't sell this home" or whatever else, right? Because the other letter did say, "I told the Woods to move." So it was easy for the Woods to come out and say what the letter said, but the Woods did not want to say.
Well, here's what's interesting though. So when I dug a little bit further, where is this? There was another family in that neighborhood that actually received a letter from the Watcher too. Mm. And they actually thought it was a prank, and they threw the letter away as well. And so I guess what happened was once the case became famous, one of the grown kids, they didn't live in the house, but they actually posted on Facebook that this had happened. They removed the post, but that's interesting. So it just kind of sounds like this person is like toying with different
the
people.
Whole neighborhood.
Yeah. It just sounds like somebody that's just not mentally there.
And then someone
maybe this is like
took the bait, and that's why they ended up in the situation. If they never would cared one way or the other, maybe it would have just passed, and the person would have
maybe
moved on.
I think like the FBI profiler said they definitely thought it was like an older person based on the style of
the verbiage
writing, the verbiage they used. And then what else did they say? Somebody who really liked to read quite a bit, just the way they wrote. So, I don't know. I just see some like crazy old Karen lady, retired, and just does not want people living in her neighborhood is maybe she doesn't want young kids living in her neighborhood because
maybe she hates the young blood.
Yeah, because they're like, she's cranky and she doesn't want them running around the streets.
Doesn't want them on her lawn.
Yeah, that could be.
You guys are funny
too. So,
but basically, the person was obviously unstable, or they were playing a game that went too far. And I'm just surprised on whoever it was that they kept going with the letters, opposed to stopping, even though they knew the police were investigating. A private investigator was hired, and they came up with nothing. So somebody was good enough to, thwart all those attempts to, find their identity. So that was interesting.
But there's so many. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, there's just so many problems and contradictions with this case, because it's like at first you think it's just a prank. But then for it to be a prank, I mean, this person had to know their names and know personal details about them. And then the letters just kept ramping up and getting more aggressive. And it's like, okay, so if it's not a prank, it's someone who has a personal vendetta against these people. But then what? What is the motive? Like, why? Unless it's what Bobby said, it's someone who wanted to buy the house.
Are you ready to step into the shadows? Welcome to Strange Darkness Radio, where the supernatural isn't just a mystery, it's our obsession. Join Bobby Washington, Amy Tydeman, and Carolyn Grey as they journey into the unknown, uncovering chilling tales of haunted houses, UFOs, and creatures lurking in the dark. we explore the eerie corners of reality that most fear to tread. Broadcasting on iHeartRadio, Strange Darkness Radio invites you to become part of a growing community that thrives on the strange and unexplained. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, our spine-tingling stories and intriguing insights will haunt your thoughts long after the episode ends. Don't just listen, dare to immerse yourself in the darkness. Subscribe now on iHeartRadio, follow us on Instagram at Strange Darkness Radio, and share your own encounters with the paranormal at 916-7413032. Strange Darkness Radio. Are you brave enough to tune in?
Like and subscribe on YouTube. Anyways,
that was back. A good commercial. I like that one.
Yeah, I love it.
Nice. Yeah, we want to get iHeartRadio listeners, so subscribe on iHeartRadio. We have a big following over at iHeartRadio, so I had to do an iHeartRadio commercial. And same with Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Podbeam. But iHeart has been picking up. So thank you guys out there for listening on iHeartRadio.
Yeah, thank you, iHeart
Yes,
users.
thank all our fans. We, I know we're in the middle of the show and we just came back from a break, but I want to thank all the fans out there for listening. Thanks for staying up late night. Hopefully, you guys are listening to this at night because I do want it to be more of a late night, creepy type podcast, opposed to, you're in your office in the middle of the day just listening and bumping around. No, I want you to take us to bed with you. And listen and just to have that old school creep factor. I'm a big fan of Coast to Coast Radio and all late night scary broadcast. Okay, sorry about that. We're back.
So have you two heard of the teacher theory?
No. What's the teacher theory?
Yeah. So apparently there was a teacher. He taught English at a high school, the local high school, for 33 years. And after this case went viral, some of his previous students reported that he would tell them how he would write love letters to homes he was obsessed with.
Oh.
And so one of the students said that this teacher, his name's Robert Kaplow, he said that he wrote more than 50 letters to a particular house over the years, love letters. But even though he would write letters to homes that he admired, he denied ever sending anything to this house. So some people say what's interesting is that he retired from teaching in June of 2014. And that was actually the very same month that the Watchers started sending letters to the Broaddus family.
Oh.
So
that makes perfect sense.
But do you think he would have sent only 4 letters? Like, if he's that obsessed with sending letters to properties.
Yeah, I don't think it was this guy, but I do find it odd that he's writing love letters to homes that he's in love with. He didn't write it to the people at the house. He wrote it to the actual house.
No, exactly. But I just think he would have wrote more than 4 letters.
Well, maybe he would have. He just didn't have enough time, because it was only like in a 6-month time period, I think, right?
Well, this whole thing went on till like 2017.
I thought the letters came out within like a 6-month period, but the family, I think it was a couple years before they sold the house. But I could be wrong.
Do we have any of the teachers' letters to like compare?
No, that would be interesting to see the style of writing.
Yeah,
but
if it was
he kind of somewhat fits like the FBI profiler. He's older, a voracious reader, a good writer,
English teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Would he have a sexual acronym for that? Is there something called
when you like are in love with inanimate objects?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah,
because I know people marry objects.
That's like the most ridiculous
the lady
thing
that
I've
married
ever.
a bridge.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
But I mean, why do people do that? Is it they're just trying to like?
They're in love.
I think.
I mean, are they
don't think-
actually mentally in love with an inanimate object? I mean,
I think
They
it's
are.
real. They believe it to be real.
Yeah.
At least that's
okay.
what they
Well,
say.
we
I
might
mean,
have to like do a topic.
Yeah, we
or
should do an
something
episode
on
about that.
It has to be
because
haunted,
I just can't
girls.
fathom that people actually
Ladies.
fall. Huh?
It has to be haunted.
They have to be in love with a haunted bridge.
You know how many sex podcasts that we
Well,
or
maybe
people
there's
doing
some
things to
haunted-
things that we can
We're
do that
getting a
have
little off
nothing to do
track.
with exactly the
Well, I'm
paranormal.
sure if you get on the internet, you could find something that's haunted and some object that somebody fell in love with.
Yeah, I'm
maybe
pretty-
we'll do some
Yeah,
research
they're like
on that one.
I'm pretty Amy, you don't want to go down to those levels or avenues because
That's
they'll be like,
true.
well,
I'll get all kinds of funky
yeah,
stuff.
because
in my
they'll be
search.
like, well, no, the object that I'm in love with, the soul left until I put the battery in, the soul will be back. So I mean, come on, you know, like,
yeah,
we don't want to go down that road.
Yeah, we'll leave that one alone then.
Yeah,
Fine. But if you are a listener and you have a story like that, feel free to call us and tell us all
Jeez.
about it.
Come on the show.
Damn,
We'll interview
I had to play that little laugh track.
That is funny. But
I want sound effects.
yeah, what happened to all the sound effects we're supposed to be doing?
Yeah,
We're
I'm
all
working
supposed
on
to
them.
get some.
Yeah, I'm working on them.
Oh,
But,
okay. So, all right. So to wrap the story up, the house. Oh, wait, I forgot. There was one more theory. Let me get into this real quickly. One of the private investigators said one night there was a young woman that drove by the house, and she kind of paused by their house for like some extra time. And so when they questioned her, she said she had a boyfriend who lived on the street. And he played very, very dark video games as a specific character called, you guessed it,
The Watcher.
The Watcher.
What
Watcher,
game?
yeah.
Did they say the game he was playing?
They didn't. Is there a video game with someone named The Watcher? It was some dark.
I mean, he could have been playing a PC game. There's a bunch of different games, but nothing particularly called The Watcher that I know of. But in the PC realm, your character's name can be The Watcher. You can. You know, a lot of video games, you
Like
can name
he
your
coulda
character
named it.
whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Did they look
Yeah.
into that?
So they did. So he actually agreed to come in 2 separate times for interviews, but he actually never showed up.
Oh.
So they said, there's really not enough evidence to pin anything on this man. And so, they pretty much just dropped it. It didn't really sound like he was much of a factor because I didn't really hear a whole lot about it, but it's just kind of interesting, all the different kind of weird connections to the story, and you just don't know who it is and what their purpose was. But anyhow, to this day, the new owners have not received any letters in the mail.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. And then the Broaddus family, they have actually made out just fine because they sold their story to Netflix, and you can now watch a fictionalized version of their story. And I watched the show. I thought it was pretty entertaining. But yeah, so that was The Watcher, and it's a pretty fascinating case, and it sucks that they never found out who it was, but I think that almost adds to the appeal of the story.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The Watcher could be listening to this podcast as we speak.
Yes. Do not send us any letters.
Send Amy some letters and about whether or not you like inanimate objects, or were you fascinated on the house itself. And
No.
send those
thank
to
you.
strangedarknessradio@gmail.com. And we'll definitely, and yes.
Okay. If I actually
definitely.
get a funky letter like that, it's all your fault, Bobby.
Oh no!
Why don't you get, like, a bunch?
letters are good. Letters are okay. We'll air them, and you can also call and leave a message with a creepy voice, like I was able to create. 916-741-3032. We would love to hear from you, the Watcher, if you're still out there. Which I think the Watcher is probably long gone.
You think
as far
so?
as to
Yeah.
the
think they're dead?
other world, other life,
Passed
or a ghost.
away, maybe.
Yeah. What if you're the
If they were watching
Watcher?
the house that long.
But listen, what if you're the Watcher and you did all this stuff, right? And then you die, but you're stuck in that home.
Maybe that's why no one has received any letters since that new family moved in, because they passed away.
Interesting.
Well, I feel like it was all the media attention that would dissuade anyone from doing that. But it's very possible because they did think it was like an older person. So they could have very well passed away.
Yeah, you guys never said what your theories were about who it was or really like what you believe it was.
Yeah, no, I said it. I think it was a Karen.
She thinks it was a Karen.
Oh, just the neighbor.
Yeah,
like
no, I want to hear what
neighbors.
Carolyn's thoughts are on that.
I honestly have no idea. It's like every letter you read makes me think something different. I have no idea. Oh,
yeah.
I have no idea. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Could you hear that? What I just said?
Yeah.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
I could, but it was,
We heard it.
I do have a question. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, you go.
Well, I was just going to repeat what how Bobby was saying he thought it's possible that it was the husband. Some of the neighbors got together and they were talking about the case, and they did say, we think it's possible that they were suffering buyer's remorse.
mm-hmm.
And so they came up with this elaborate plan so they could get rid of the house. But
he was like, this damn mold.
Yeah, like that just makes no sense though, because they, by making these allegations, or if they wrote these letters themselves and then went to the police and then it blew up and it became a big story, no one wanted to buy the house after that. So it's like, if that was the motive, if they didn't want to buy the house and they wanted it out of their contract or they wanted to resell it, it seems like there would have been a lot of better ways to do that than this.
I agree. That seems excessive to me. So I don't think the family had anything to do with all of that.
Okay.
No.
How about this? I have some supernatural angles that I want to put on this.
Wait, real quick. I just want to ask you and the listeners, do you think that the watcher was a female or male?
I think the watcher was a male.
I do too.
You
Amy
do?
thinks it was a Karen.
I really do. I don't know if I just think that because they found female DNA on the envelope, and maybe that's just kind of like in my head. But I could see some annoying woman doing something like, well, not just a woman, but I don't know. For some reason, I just see some woman doing that.
I think there would have been more attacks on Derek. I know she gets really whoever gets really nasty in the last letter.
Yeah, they called the wife a wench. That's
wench.
like, I could see some spiteful woman calling another woman, you wench.
That's usually an older male.
Yeah, it was a woman. I think it was, I really believe it was a woman.
All right, we'll go with the Karen aspect of it. The first Karen that got away with the crime.
Yeah.
Got away
because
with letters.
There were no attacks on him in any of the letters. Why are they calling her... Who did they call vile? What did that letter say?
I think they said Derek was vile.
Oh, you're right. The vile and spiteful Derek. Oh, okay. Never mind then.
And then she called them all idiots.
She did.
I mean, yeah, partially nice, but partially, vulgar at times, but not too vulgar. But kind of keeping it even kill through the whole situation. But the supernatural angle. Could the watcher be some kind of paranormal entity of the house rather than a human stalker, to where it was actually generating those letters itself, or having someone write the letters?
Oh, like hypnotizing
mind control,
someone?
yes. And then they were generating, the house itself was like, I don't want you, or the entity that resides in the house. Could that be a possibility?
Here's why I don't think that makes sense. If the demon was writing the letters himself, wouldn't these letters just appear in the house rather than being sent through the U.S. Postal Service?
Well, this is not a movie, so therefore, usually any entity will take over someone and have them pen or write, scrap, do certain things, and then present the letter, and then the person does not even remember ever doing it or writing that letter.
Oh my gosh, maybe they possessed the husband and he sent the letters.
Amityville, possible. But I have one more for you. Well, I have a couple. But the letters mention no. The letters mention a second coming. Is there an occult or religious aspect to this case? Could it have been an occult that
They did
for
say all
whatever
hail
reason?
the Watcher.
Yeah, it could be like,
And could it have been all the
this-
neighbors? Because they're in an
like
occult.
that movie.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like
maybe
Rosemary's
this
Baby.
house is like a portal and they need this house to do their satanic activities.
And they needed the family to move out.
Possible.
I think we're seriously just reaching here.
I am not
but-
reaching. I'm giving you
He's just
supernatural
proposing-
angles.
Yeah,
exactly.
no one has ever discussed these theories before.
Yeah, well, they probably have, but they didn't want to put them on air.
Yeah, they're too embarrassed to put such
Exactly.
foolish,
Okay, I have one more.
foolish thoughts. No,
Amy, do
that
you
is
know
possible.
You can't prove that it wasn't
Exactly.
supernatural.
You're right.
Amy,
no, we
do you-
cannot prove.
Yeah.
What's that?
Amy, do you know of any local legends or folklore that are supernatural that involve watchers or guardians, again, that are in that area, that actually that house itself can be a portal? That's why they wouldn't allow that house to be split. Even the zoning people wouldn't allow that particular property, other properties to be split up, but not that property had to stay intact and as a whole.
I mean,
could-
it is
could that be a-
possible.
could that be a
The
portal?
whole neighborhood sounds super creepy. All the people sound weird to me. So I don't know. I get it's, never say never. It's a possibility. Yeah, maybe they all belong to some cult, and this is what they do to anyone who moves.
It's
But-
like a
but-
super culty homeowners association who's like really picky about who moves into the neighborhood.
Oh
And
yeah,
they just didn't like the family.
I feel like homeowners associations are like that in general.
Okay, Exactly.
Before we call
So,
them,
but that
ahead.
doesn't explain why the one family was there for 23 years.
oh yes, it does.
Because they
Because
fit
they
in.
were a part of it. They got out. The Woods got out. And
Like they changed
the
their
Woods
mind?
got that last letter that no one knows what it said. If you leave, if you
It
leave,
could have been a threat.
we don't even know what happened to the Woods. Let's say the Woods are no more. After that lawsuit, they just disappeared. I don't know. I'm just making up stuff. But
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
one last one. The Watcher. Could it be an entity from another dimension, a parallel universe, able to observe but not fully interact with the people in that home?
And they can
he's-
only interact through letters.
Yes. And then these letters he's putting in these letters from his time and space, but that actually are appearing in their mailbox.
Like he put a actual stamp and it
No.
went through
Yep.
his.
Sent it through the portal.
No, well, we never hear from the post office. We're assuming that the letters were mailed. We don't know if this is one of the pull down boxes you can just drop it into. That actually is not stated. We don't know if it was actually
No,
mailed.
it is. It went through the actual.
Oh, did it go through the actual
local,
local post office?
post office? Yeah.
Okay, well, damn, it was probably the mailman. Mailman's always creeping. Whether it's with your wife or whomever, the mailman is always creeping. So maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the mailman.
Okay, here's my question to you guys.
Yes.
So knowing that you're going to have all this media attention and Netflix is going to come to you and offer you several $1 million for the rights to the story, would you go through that experience?
Oh, for sure, because nothing really happened. It wasn't even paranormal in the house. The house had no paranormal activity whatsoever.
Wait, you just said you wouldn't move into that house for a steal.
No, you said if I knew I was going to get a deal from Netflix for $7 million,
Okay, so that's
would I?
Oh, okay.
I would go stay at the McCurney Mansion if I knew I was actually going to get the money
You would
at the end of
you
it.
Would be you
For
would be
$1 million.
tortured
No, we
by
said
Russell
$7
McKamey
million.
for $5 million.
$5 million.
Would you
I
really
would
have
let,
your teeth?
long as I don't die or lose any limbs or eyes.
What about teeth? If they pull out
You
your
don't know.
teeth,
You have to sign
one by
a long
one.
waiver. They
Yeah,
are allowed
no.
to pull out your teeth. They're allowed
Yeah,
to
they
do
are.
dentistry. You
Uh-huh.
could die and they're not liable.
Yeah,
You have a heart
Says
attack
the
or
girl who
something.
wanted to actually go do this.
you
She drinks
wanted
her
to do
tea.
that? What's wrong
I
with
wanted
you?
to. Well, I wanted to do it so I could like blow the whole story. You know what I mean? Like
You
I
would have
wanted
been
to
a
go in
convert.
undercover.
He would have converted you. You'd be like, I'm moving
Undercover?
again. I'm moving again.
You thought you were going to make it through all of that torture?
No, not for 5 seconds, but I wanted to just get in there and see it and see what's going on.
Oh my gosh, Carolyn, you
blow
would
the lid
not.
off that story.
Yeah, you're. Yeah,
I think Amy would have a more of a shot, Carolyn, than you personally. Period.
Yeah, I think anyone has more of a shot than me, unless we send those bikini pics.
Yeah, well, he would have took pity on you.
Just don't fall asleep, Carolyn.
There you go.
Can't
And
go
don't
sleep in
drink
my house.
anything. Don't drink anything.
Yeah,
But yeah, you are
I need one of
correct.
those roofie protectors for my cup.
All right, so we know Bobby would do it for $5 million. He would be subject to being stalked. What about you, Carolyn? Would you go through all that for like several $1 million?
She'd do it for $100. What are you? We're talking about the house now. We're talking about just staying in the house.
I would live in that house for free, you guys.
That's what I said. Exactly.
I just want a nice house.
This is true. Carolyn has been having housing issues, so I believe she would stay in that house for free.
Yeah, she would squat
and
there.
how many letters I get.
She'd be like, I wrote those letters.
I would write a letter back.
It was my
I'm
granddad.
not going anywhere.
Exactly.
That
it was my
is
granddad.
funny. No. Yeah. If I got a Netflix deal for a few $1 million, I would go through that experience.
Oh, you would?
I didn't.
Who wouldn't?
Yeah, I would, because nothing happened to them, and I don't believe they were ever in any serious kind of danger.
Well, they believe, yeah, but the mind is tricky when it comes to that, though, because for whatever reason they did believe they were, and
yeah,
that's,
of course.
That's the only reason why I initially was thinking like, maybe the husband had something to do with this. Maybe he was in a marriage he didn't want to be in. Maybe he was the lady was well off or something, or he just didn't want to move or whatever, and he came up with this ruse to try to get out of purchasing this home or just whatever. Because you're right. Did this did they ever threaten someone's life? Did they ever somebody come to their home? Did something actual physical in the home happen? No, it was more of it was just the letters. It wasn't even mental warfare, other than the person making you believe that the neighbors were watching you. And then so if you had any interaction with them, then you were like, oh shit, I think they're watching. Yep, I can see them as they got into the car. They were looking at me the whole time, opposed to they're wondering why you're looking at them. You know what I mean? Like you know,
right.
and it's just
made them super paranoid.
Yeah.
They actually never even lived in the home.
Yeah, exactly.
So
exactly.
So
Never.
I think
That's why I think it was a money issue. I think money had something to do with something was going on, because they never physically moved into that house. And so something was going on.
Well, because they were doing renovations first.
No. Even after the renovations. I mean, when we say renovations, they weren't talking about painting. There wasn't like they were, this guy's a full construction worker or something like that. And they had whatever. You have 6-7 rooms, bedrooms, and then, all the areas that they can live in. I mean, come on. And you just bought the home and you're selling your other home. And then you end up going to live with your relatives. I mean, her relatives or whomever. I mean, come on.
Yeah, but you don't know how much renovations they want. Maybe they wanted to do like a kitchen overhaul, maybe because the one family lived there for like 23 years. And maybe they had like old school taste, No, we don't know.
Yeah, that's understandable. But I'm just saying, it just seemed like there was something else going on that that couple was aware of that we weren't. Maybe it was something more severe. Maybe there were paranormal things happening in the home and they didn't want to share it. We only know about the letters because of the court case. And then once those came out, then, it did what it did. But so maybe there was something more severe that stopped them from moving into the home that we weren't privy to. So yeah.
I do think that's probably the most likely, is just that they were having financial difficulties for whatever reason. They wanted out of the contract.
Yeah.
They couldn't get out. But nothing makes sense about this case. Like none of the theories totally make sense.
Yeah, I agree. I guess we will probably never know the answer to that, but it's been fun to do the research and come up with theories of what's that?
The person's still out there, or their relatives are, the watcher.
They're watching.
Yeah, they are. They're still watching. So, and I curious what they thought about the Netflix show. But anyhow,
They're like, I didn't get my residuals. I'm suing. This is about me.
I know that is true. But that was fun. Yeah, thank you guys
great
for
episode, Amy. Great topic. Great production.
Yeah,
Amy's
good
like,
research.
I want a voice that's
Thank
like
you.
the Saw, but then so I had to get hopefully the voice
yeah,
right.
it's creepy.
But,
I needed a Saw type voice. I mean, it wasn't exactly Saw, but
It wasn't exactly, but I made it creepy. Hopefully you guys
I thought it was creepy and
had some creep factor to it.
It's a good story. So hopefully
great
the readers enjoyed it too, or readers. Hopefully the listeners. Like I'm
Read
reading
the
a book
letters.
here.
Read the letters.
Yeah, hopefully the listeners enjoyed that.
Yeah, and again, I really do wonder whether more letters, because 4 letters does not seem that much to me, and they were very brief, especially I think 3 and 4. I mean 2 and 3. But I just think there was something else going on that we weren't privy to that they probably didn't disclose at the end of the day to make them not feel that secure to move in. If it wasn't a money issue and it wasn't the couple, doing a ruse to get out of something financially, then there was probably something else going on. And it could have been a haunted situation. Because, at that time, people, and to this day, people don't like coming forth and talking about, paranormal or ghost hauntings and what's happening in your home, because they're scared about the value depreciating like crazy and just things happening, which end up happening anyways. At the end of the day, they lost money. But
it's true.
But yeah,
that is true.
Yeah. Yep. And it sounds like they actually, I think, probably paid in cash. What it damn near sounds like. It's crazy. But because the bank,
I want to know their
involved.
financials.
Yeah,
I want to know where they got all their money and how they paid for it. And
she was, I want background.
Yeah, someone was saying because I don't know if they had another house in between. Like their first house was like $300K. Then I don't know. I thought maybe their next one was like 700, and then this one 1.3. So people are like, how do you go from those price ranges to 1.3 million?
$1 million mansion.
Yeah. But his answer was, hey, this is America.
Yeah. It's America.
I love that.
Exactly.
Yeah. So who knows what was going on with their financials. But yeah, very, very interesting. And but I don't think they need to worry now because they've made lots of money from Netflix. So
was it all
They're
on purpose? That's the question.
It was all part of their plan.
Oh, wow.
But
okay. Well, again, great show, Amy. Amazing. And Carolyn's show is coming soon for her Carolyn production.
Yay. I'm super excited about that. Can't wait to hear about that. I am not driving out there for research, Carolyn.
Come on, Amy.
Come on.
Damn. Amy never goes anywhere. She's on lockdown. But yeah. All right. I'll go out there, risk it all once again. But
dude,
hey,
would you really just take your drone out there for me and get some footage?
Yeah, you're producing the show. I'll do what you need me to do. So we'll get
just for everyone, just a quick FYI, everyone. Carolyn's working on a murder story and has asked Bobby to go out there and get footage of where the actual murder took place. And apparently it's in a woodsy rural area.
Yes.
It's in the middle of nowhere.
You don't hear from me.
I said,
why.
hell no, I'm not going out there to do that. And Bobby graciously agreed. So, so you may be seeing that footage in an upcoming story then.
Yes.
Amy, the murders were like 50 years ago. I'm sure it's perfectly safe now.
Okay, I am not going to some honky-tonk town and where they're like, what
did Zach tell you to do, Amy?
What is this couple out here? They don't belong here. What are they doing?
Bring your shotgun. Bring your shotgun.
Yeah.
All right, we're getting silly. Okay, it's time to roll. All right,
wrap
Amy,
it up.
Go ahead and wrap it up for us, Amy.
All right, everyone. Well, this has been so much fun. Thanks for joining us tonight. Thanks for listening. And yeah, let me know if you like this story. But yeah, thanks for joining us. And Bobby and Carolyn, do you have anything else?
Nope. Thank you very much.
Just Good job, and thank you. And yeah, can the listeners please let us know if they like stories like this? Because I do kind of want to get into more mysteries. So
Yeah.
yeah, just let us know.
Mysteries.
All right, everyone. Have a wonderful, creepy evening. Bye-bye.
As your journey through the shadow realms of Strange Darkness Radio concludes, remember that you unlock the door to the paranormal with the key of imagination. Beyond it lies another dimension, a dimension of eerie soundscapes, chilling sights, and the profound depths of the mind. You're venturing into a land of both haunting shadows and tangible substance, where the ethereal meets the corporeal, and ideas take on a spectral form. You've just crossed over into the Strange Darkness Radio Zone. In the vast expanse of the paranormal, there exists a fifth dimension, extending beyond the known realms of our understanding. It is a dimension vast as the cosmos and eternal as infinity, a mysterious terrain between the illumination of light and the depths of shadow. This is the middle ground between the empirical and the supernatural, where fears fester in the pit of humanity's soul and knowledge ascends to its zenith. Welcome to the dimension of imagination, an area we dub the Strange Darkness Radio Zone. As you conclude your journey with us, remember that you're departing this peculiar zone, a place where reality intertwines with the surreal. Be cautious as you step out, for you may find that the boundaries between the normal and the paranormal blur, leaving you forever in the lingering embrace of the unknown. Until next time, farewell from the depths of the Strange Darkness Radio Zone.
I can feel it coming.